Welcome to The Social Life. I am Deanna Miller, Director of Marketing for Stark Social Media Agency. With me today is my fabulous creative director, Nathan Imhoff. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey.
You'll be here all the time, right?
I am.
I'm excited about our first installment of the Social Life podcast. We basically decided to do this because we have so many clients who ask us so many important questions, and we wanted to share them with the fabulous world out there. It started with the last few months. We've done a lot of webinars. We've done a lot of trainings. We've built a lot of websites. We've built a lot of social media strategies. And the questions are always the same. I was reading through my Feedly today and I came across a really cool article on business to community. And I decided I wanted to do something around the share that they shared because I thought it was really important. I came up with the 10 commandments of good social. People don't realize that good social also includes your website and all the other things like Google Analytics and Google AdWords.
Exactly.
And all those things. And the first thing that I want to talk about in the whole world of social marketing is having a plan. Because really people either have a plan or they don't have a plan. Most of the time, they don't have a plan.
They don't have a plan. And they don't know where they're going. And
that's okay. It's okay to not have a plan when you're getting started. We work with a lot of nonprofits, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of businesses, local businesses to our area in Los Angeles, and it's okay to not have a plan. But we come across people who maybe have a tiny plan or no plan.
Usually it's no plan.
But that's okay. And a lot of times we have people who come to us who they have a website.
They have a website.
Or they don't have a website.
Well, most places have a website.
Most places.
Whether it's good or not, or whether it's effective is another story.
But a lot of new businesses don't have a website. Small businesses, sometimes they don't have the money, the budget for a website. So when they finally do have one, they're looking for a company like us. When you're starting your plan, most people start with a website, but we get a lot of questions about what kind of website should I have? So then it comes down to, we've heard a lot. The second thing on my list is adaptable. You need an adaptable website. Well, that's what I think I call it. But you have...
It's usually called responsive. Okay, and more or less what that means is you have a website that will respond to the size of the screen that it's on. So where many websites today could have up to 50 to 75% of their traffic now coming through mobile devices, tablets, iPhones, Droids, Androids, Windows phones.
Droids.
Blackboard.
What's
yes.
a droid?
Yeah, I know we have iPhones.
Are we talking about Star Wars now? Well, the other thing, too, though, is there's been a lot of things in the news. People ask us, like, I need a mobile-friendly site. Google made this thing recently, this announcement.
Well, because of the increase of people using smartphones and tablets, Google wants their clients, who are people who are searching, to have websites that adapt to those devices. It's going to hurt you if you don't have a website that's responsive. It's going to respond to the screen. They want to deliver websites to search that are going to work on the devices that they're being searched from.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
That totally makes sense. And I think the majority of the stuff I do is because I travel a lot. I'm doing trainings and webinars and all over the place. The majority of the stuff I do when I'm searching for things is on my iPhone or my iPad.
Yeah, everyone's doing it now. Google it now.
I came home today from being away, and then I stuffed my laptop on the desk, and then I grabbed my iPad and my iPhone to come here and do this. Right. So I don't even have my laptop with me today. So the next thing with websites is the number 3 thing on the commandment list is, you need to have an optimized website for search. So we have a lot of people who come to us with a lot of misconceptions, a lot of
gimmicks,
misinformation. I mean, I just worked with one of our clients and they had some issues because their SEO was done really poorly and they had been like, woo, we're number 1. And then, no, we're not number 1.
If you upset Google, you're not going to be happy.
What are some of the common misconceptions, though, that you hear a lot? Because you do you're like the website guy.
Right.
The guru?
No, don't say guru. Guru's the worst. Everyone throw that word guru in the trash can. I hate it.
I like watching you cringe, though, when I say the word guru.
We had a client who on radio said that too. Like, oh, they're our web guru. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, but they're one of our favorite clients.
They are one of our favorite, but they said guru.
Because they're so awesome, we forgive them over and over.
When it comes to search, there's no gimmicks. You got to look at Google as the all-seeing eye of God. And it sees all. you can get penalized for breaking the rules or having too much repeating content. We typically use tools like Raven Tools to go over the website content, run audits on it to make sure that all the requirements for the pages are done. You need to have a meta description. You need to have a focus word. You need to have your page titles need to be correct. You don't want them too long. You don't want them too short. You want good, solid content. I mean, it's getting so that their Google algorithm can see good grammar and sentence structure.
That's so crazy to me.
It's not just...
Because, like, I write blog posts for some of our clients, and I'm now catching myself making sure that my grammar is right. And we use some plugins on the blogs that we manage. Like, we use the Yoast SEO plugin.
Yeah.
And that will tell you, actually, when you run the SEO check, whether or not it's grammatically proper. It'll say, these sentences are hard to read. And then I sort of, like, facepalm myself and go, like, that sucks.
Yeah.
I have to start over again.
Yeah, what would happen is people would write sentences and they would write bad sentences to try to jam certain words into it.
Like Google, the longest sentences ever.
Right.
With the keyword mentioned like 5 times.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've seen that a bunch.
Unnecessarily jamming keywords into it. They'll hurt you if you have too many words. So you want to have it be more natural. If you've been in business for any amount of time, somebody's called you and told you, hey, I can get you to the top of Google for whatever X amount of dollars. Depending on your personality, me, I would just hang up on them.
Yeah, there's a lot of gimmicks out there.
Hustle.
Total hustle. So with that, I'm actually going to call an audible on this, and I'm going to switch my 5 and my 4 because we started talking about original content. So you brought it up. So we're going to switch my 5 and my 4 on this list. Producing original content is really important. And I think that's one of the things, I work with a lot of ghostwriters. We work with a lot of really great content writers. And I think it's really worth it to encourage people out there. If you're going to be housing a blog on your website, you need to produce original content that people want to read.
Right. Or don't do it at all.
Or don't have a blog.
Right.
I mean, I think that's probably the best advice when it comes to that.
Content is king. Just because you can write doesn't mean you should write. And writing is actually a very difficult thing. I mean, a lot of people will be like, hey, I'll just write this blog. Like it's easy. It's hard to write good blogs. I mean, that's why a lot of times it's better to just hire somebody to do that for you.
No, absolutely. As a person who started out as a blogger and a content writer before I got heavily into social media and found that was my passion, it's so hard to maintain content ideas. So 9 times out of 10, if I come across a blog, somebody wants me to write for them, I will probably refer them to somebody who that's their niche. Because it's so much better in my mind to find somebody who's good in that niche and have them produce content rather than you just continuing to blow fluff onto your blog and say the same thing over and over and over again. And the other thing I think is that I see a lot of with a lot of the clients whose blogs I look over to give tips and consulting advice is they always sell themselves. It's always like a sales pitch.
Oh, yeah.
And that sales pitch ends up being monotonous for the readers, and people don't always want to be sold something.
Right.
Well,
a lot of content marketing now is giving things away for free. Give us your email, they give them 10 tips to whatever.
Right. No, absolutely. I think HubSpot does that. They're like king of the content marketing revolving sales funnel door. Like, I don't know anybody else that does it as well as they do, but it's basically like every time that I get a HubSpot something, it's like, put in your email address. And the next thing I know, it's like, you've opted into this.
Well, I think that's probably how we've actually built a lot of business with Stark too, is giving away free webinars. When you do it, you don't go in there and you don't sell people. You give them an honest webinar time and tell them. And a lot of people come to the conclusion that, wow, to do this right, it's really complicated. You know what? I would rather just pay you.
We have a lot of those free webinars on our blog. So if you want to go to starksocial.com, those are on there on the blog. Speaking of social, the 5th thing we'll talk about is get out there and be social. That's on my list of the commandments. That's on number 5 since I pulled an audible and I switched things around. But I think that goes hand in hand with your content. For me, when I'm producing blog posts to produce for social media specifically, people want things that they can share, but they're not going to find you if you're not out there being social. And what that means to me is engaging with your audience, finding, if you're on Facebook, for example, finding pages that are similar in process. For example, I do a lot of real estate trainings. If you're a real estate agent, finding local businesses, local nonprofit organizations that you can like and share and comment on their stuff. Maybe you can partner with them so that you can spread the word about what you're doing. So I think that getting out there and being social is really, it's on the middle of the list, and we've got a lot more stuff to talk about coming up. We talk about this a lot in our trainings, in our blog.
The big thing is you can't treat social media like it's a website. That it's just, I'm just projecting. If somebody just came up to you and was constantly selling you all the time instead of actually being social and talking with you.
Right. In the social marketing world, we call it broadcasting.
Right.
So if you're constantly just broadcasting out into the world your messaging, you're not being social.
Right.
So if I'm just always telling you how amazing I am, how awesome my food is,
this would be irritating.
how great my website is, how awesome I am, then that ends up getting irritating.
Yeah.
It's like when you go on a first date
If all you do is talk
and
about
all you
yourself,
do is talk about yourself,
probably not going to get a second
you're
date.
probably not going to get a second date, which means you're not going to get a third date, which means your life sucks. But social is really our biggest. He's laughing at me now.
That's good. Your life sucks.
It's my best analogy. And I use that in my trainings too. When I'm talking to people and I'm consulting, I actually had a great consultation earlier in the week with somebody who took advantage of one of our awesome September back to school specials. We work on landing pages. We work on building sales funnels. I use that analogy, and he totally laughed and he totally got it. And I got the same response about my dating analogy.
Right.
And I think that's really the big important thing is your whole marketing world for your business really revolves around, you've got your website, which I tell people is like their online resume for your business.
Right.
And then your social media is like your references. So
the worst though is a social media, somebody who's slanging social media, and then you go to their social media and it's like they haven't tweeted in 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
What's wrong with you?
I think that's the funniest thing is I had someone that I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, we did a consultation. They said, this person's helping me with my social media, but I'm not really happy and I'm not sure why. And then I looked at that person, the company's social media, and I think the last time the company social media had tweeted anything was back in December. That's disappointing. I think that's another great tip, though, that we can give to the audience at large. If you're vetting a social media company to work with them, or you're looking for a marketing consultant, check out their social media and see what they're doing. And check their website and see if they manage social for other people that you can check out.
Well, if you're trying to say that social media is important, but it's not important enough for you to do for yourself.
No, absolutely.
Why should I believe you?
Absolutely. That's why I manage our social, and every once in a while I'm like, it's been like a day.
Oh, I harass you if I don't see social media.
Because social media is really important. So if you're a social marketing company, you're looking for a social marketing company, you should definitely make sure that they're doing social media. If they're slinging websites, you should look and see what kind of websites they're building. And if they don't have a website, that's probably bad juju. I wouldn't recommend it. Right?
No.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us so far. We are not done. There are 5 more things on my 10 commandments of good social list. Nathan will be here to fill in and add information about return on investment. We're talking about analytics. Come back and join us, won't you?
Stark Social Media Agency is a boutique marketing firm specializing in custom solutions that are a cut above the rest. With a mission to strictly do good work, the Stark team provides the best product possible every single time. Whether you need a website upgrade, social marketing strategy, or branding design, Stark Social has the solution for success.
Welcome back to The Social Life. I'm Deanna Miller. Director of Marketing for Stark Social Media Agency. And again, with me is my co-host, Nathan Imhoff, our Creative Director.
Hello.
We've been talking about the 10 Commandments of Good Social. We covered 5 already, so if you missed them, go back. We're just going to keep rolling. So we were talking about social.
Yes.
Doing good social, get out there and be social, create a community, engage with your community, like things, share things. On Facebook, one of the things I recommend if you're trying to build a community is to join those groups. Join groups, community groups. Here in the fabulous city of Santa Clarita, where we are based, we have a lot of great community groups. So if you're looking to engage with a community, find local entities to engage with. And that brings us to number 6 on my list. Create a community that shares your content. Now, one of the things we talked about in the last section was producing original content.
Right.
Getting out there and being social. Obviously, if you have a blog or a website, creating original content is really important because once you've created that community, once you have people who like, share, and comment on the things that you're putting out into the social networks, that's really, really important because all of those things go together. Creating that community, I think one of the things that we've done with our own social media is finding partners. We have our clients, we share their stuff, we retweet their stuff.
Right.
If, they're a specific awesome radio show with some really awesome ladies, broadcast. They give us shout outs and, we retweet them during the show.
Right.
You do analytics for them and research and tweet it at them from your own personal Twitter handle. You're their statistician is what they've said. But you create that community where people know who you are, right?
Right.
So that's one of the things is I say this all the time in my trainings, is you want to place yourself as the subject matter expert in whatever you're doing. Even if you're a brew pub in your community, you want to be the absolute best possible resource for information about beer.
That brings up a good point.
We don't have any beer right now.
Yeah, we don't have any beer right now. But no, we have here. What is it? What's the brewery that's in town here?
I know Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek. I was going to give them props.
Yeah, no, they're amazing.
They actually saw that I was on Untapped. They had conversations on Twitter,
right,
about beer and what I like, and if I've come to their brewery, which I have, and we love them.
Yeah, we do love them. And they do good social.
Right.
They've created a great community.
Right.
I think that's really important too, is you mentioned Untapped. So Untapped is actually, it's funny because I think I've connected with a lot of people in the community that I didn't know, beer people like us, because we're beer people, send free beer. We've created a community, and through that, we've done a lot with local nonprofit organizations. We've met through different things, and I think that that's really important, is to embrace the community. A part of doing really good social media is not being afraid to engage with other groups and really taking it
Start up a conversation with somebody.
Exactly. You're on Twitter you really like Wolf Creek. Another shout out for them. You tweet at them. You tell them how amazing they are. You tell them how much you like their, recent tasters or whatever they've got going on. You buy a growler. You give them a shout out. You mention them on Instagram. I think that's really important too, as a lot of businesses forget about Instagram. Instagram is a great place to build a community. You can share pictures from your adventures. You can share pictures if you're visiting a restaurant, a hotel, a vacation location, but also going back to real estate agents or local business owners.
So that's number 7, right?
Huh?
you jumping
oh my gosh, look at me. I didn't even plan that. I'm awesome. But that's number 7 is... so number 7 is produce photography and videos and distribute them to your audience. So that goes along hand in hand with social. Instagram has made it a lot easier to do short video.
Yeah.
And you can actually add Instagram to your website, right? So we've done that for a few clients.
Right. You can put it right in there.
Right. So that means that if somebody visits your website and they're looking at your stuff, they can see your Instagram feed. They can see your Twitter feed. They can see your Facebook feed.
Right.
We don't recommend putting them all at once, though, right? You pick and choose.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. He's really quiet over there. But you want to you want to take good pictures. You want to do really good video. And one of the things that I do when I'm consulting with business owners is I give them tips on creating thoughtful images. So when you're building, let's say, an Instagram and Twitter campaign, because the two technically go hand in hand, you really want to think about what your messaging is for that day or for that week. And that goes back to our number one commandment of having a plan.
Right.
So you want to come up with a social media strategy plan. And I do that for a lot of my clients. A lot of times I don't even manage social. I just tell them what they should do with their social and then they run with it.
Right.
Like one of our very first clients, a very well-known assemblyman who we love, he has run with all of the things that I've taught him. But I think that's really important, is that you have to put together a strategy.
Right.
Even if you're not going to work with a social media manager, I think it's deciding every week what your social media is going to look like. What kind of pictures are we going to post? What kind of video am I going to post? Is it, of a cool event that's happening at our location? Are we, previewing a property as a real estate agent? Is it new design or whatever we're doing?
Did you make sure that the pictures are high quality though too? That's one thing with Instagram. I was on the campaign once, and every picture looked like it was taken in a dark room. Every single one. It was like blurry or grainy. Pay attention. You got to pay attention when you're doing that stuff.
Right. No, absolutely. And on the opposite side, though, is make sure that they don't look overproduced.
Exactly.
Right.
Like Kim Kardashian's.
But she doesn't touch her stuff up.
Right.
She just looks that way naturally. Mm-hmm. Are you serious? And that also rolls into the next one. Number 8 on the 10 commandment list is advertise with careful thought. So that just doesn't, I'm not just talking about social media. We do a lot of Google AdWords campaigns.
Right.
We do a lot of Facebook advertising campaigns, LinkedIn, Twitter. You can basically advertise on any social channel now. And they've made it so easy to spend a lot of money. And if you're not doing it thoughtfully, then you can spend too much money.
Waste a
lot of money. One of my first clients 5 years ago was somebody who said, I just spent $3,000 on Facebook ads. I'm not really sure why. And we sat down, we talked about return on investment. Did you get any clients from that?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Did you get clicks to your website? I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Right.
And that goes back to if you have a website, you should have Google Analytics hooked up to it.
Yeah, you know if it's working or not.
So then you know where your traffic's coming from. And that this is all a lot of stuff that everybody's probably going like, my head just exploded. But you have to advertise with careful thought. So think about what your advertising budget is for the month, and then think about your messaging. And it's really your messaging should be seasonal. So we're done with back to school. We're getting into Halloween, fall, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas. You want to think about what kinds of messaging you want to use to attract your business.
Right.
Get those clients into the sales funnel, beautiful funnel of sales, where everybody goes to give email addresses and eventually be closed as a sale. So you really want to make sure that once you've got that plan in place, that everything is really well thought out. And if you're not working with someone, it's really easy to put something like that together in, maybe make a spreadsheet in Excel, right. Or if you're a Mac user, in Numbers, because I like it better.
Our audio guy doesn't like Mac.
He doesn't count. God, now you've distracted me. I'm thinking about Windows and I'm sad. But you really want to be thoughtful.
He's like one of 5 guys that has one of the Windows phones.
I didn't even know those were still being made. I'm really sad. I'm sorry if I just offended anyone. Oh my God, he's got like that 30-pound thing over there that's like supposed to be an iPad, but it's not. So anyway, I've offended like a ton of people. Everybody's like, these guys are getting 1 star. I'm over this. So I just mentioned Google Analytics. One of the biggest questions we get, our number 9 thing, is utilizing your ROI tracking analytics. So analytics is really important. People are always asking us when we're doing proposals, what's my return on investment?
Right.
How do I know this is working? So you are like the king of Google Analytics in my world, because it, up until recently, was kind of one of those things you started working on becoming a Google partner. And that really opened my eyes to all the things Google Analytics. I was like, oh my gosh, it's more than just a report.
Yeah. You can't just everyone says, "Oh, I'm going to do Twitter," and then it doesn't. They might be driving traffic, but you have a high bounce rate. Somebody's leaving, so you want to look at where your stuff's coming from, and ask those questions. Don't make assumptions. Like, people make assumptions all the time. They're like, I'll ask them, "Well, do you have Google Analytics?" And they're like, look at me cross-eyed. You got to have it.
Oh, absolutely. No, totally. And
I guess.
I mean, I think that's one of the things is when we started working with the most recent client, we didn't do their website.
Right.
And that's okay. But we do their social media. We started working with the client, and sometimes you have vendors who come back and say, well, you're not getting traffic because it's your social.
Yeah.
And then you have Google Analytics on your website, and you share that with your social marketing person, which if you have someone managing your social marketing, they need to have your Google Analytics access. Add them as a manager because it's really important.
If they don't ask for it, then
they're not doing their job.
Yeah, they're not doing their job.
But we came back with a Google Analytics report.
Right.
Right. So we used our tools and our technology to boop, 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 report together and show that the traffic was actually us. Right. So that's one of the things is if you're managing your own social media right now, you want to take a look at making sure that your website, if you have somebody who put that together, because that's an expensive project,